Lovecraft's World.
Matt's World.
Da, 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 da.
There's your music, Phoenix.
Music.
Cobdar. That one where your kid just subscribed. How amazing.
Oh,
that's so
fun.
good.
Hey.
Hi, Cruise Bud. What's up? What's up?
Welcome to the party
Welcome
or
to
after
the
party.
It's the party. All right, guys. We're going to hit the ground running here tonight.
Ooh.
It is a Sunday, and we're ready to do some
Sunday.
Q&A. So welcome to the Lovecraft Tapes podcast. I am Jeremy, your keeper of arcane lore, and this is K17, Seance 9. Your investigators of the unknown were Brian as Ben,
Oh, Ben, I'm gonna miss you, boy.
Lupine as Rosa,
We can still rose. There's still roseing going on, right? Yeah.
Lots and lots.
Because I'm gonna
Rose.
rose a lot. I'm still roseing.
Would you say you're going to rose all day?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Alright.
There's a
How
thought.
much backwash is in that rose?
Oh, doesn't matter. It's Cheetos. That's fine.
And it's cheap one.
And Matt as Diego.
Hey. That's all you get.
Yeah, all right. That's right. That's it.
Or the fives.
Always rose. Nice.
Hey.
Nice. All right, guys. Tonight we will be answering questions regarding our recently completed scenario. Spoiler alert, we will discuss all the intimate details of this adventure. So if you haven't listened yet, you may want to go back and start at K17 Tape 1 Prologue before listening to the rest of this episode. Consider yourself warned.
Could also go all the way back to case 1, tape 1. I mean, I'm not going to stop you from listening to everything all over again.
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Just hit rewind. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind, rewind.
Be kind, rewind.
Ah, beat you too.
Oh, shit.
Rewind.
Behind,
Say that
rewind.
Be kind, back it up. All right. This show is brought to you in part by our generous fans and supporters on patreon.com/Lovecraft Tapes. So let's give a quick shout out to those folks. And thank you. This is actually in alphabetical order tonight. Thought that would be quite nice and change of pace. So thank you to A.E. Jonesy, Amanda Power, Andrew Petty, Ba Tran, Barry Robinson, Benjamin King, Bifford, Boston Harbor Horror Presents, Brindle Stubbs, Brownie Davis, Captain Vashton, Chainsaw Unicorn, Chris Evans, Chris Parker, Cobdar Tachai, David Winterman, Dom Driver, don't forget Sherry, Elizabeth Grieve, Eric Phillips, Eric Zane, Atulia, Frank Delventhal, Fudgy Vamp, Jordy Rose, my bad, Gregory Schmucker, Holden Nomans, Horst Draper, Huge Pie, Huku Roll, LMF10, Ineptus Astartes, Jack, James Brown, James Mayo, JR, Jay Clark, Jeff Howie, Jefferson Bell, Jeffrey Young, Jehovah's Thickness, John Konopasek, John Scarcella, Justin Levesque, who?
What?
New Levesque, who dis?
Kie, Kevin G, Kyle Sherman, Little Rowan Plays, Liz Moonberry, Luke Corbin, Malambra 57, Marty Dixon, Matt's sister, literally, Matthew, not that Matthew.
Not this one.
Oh,
Mick Cope,
sorry.
Mitch L, Nicholas Hutto, Nick Carr, Oddity, Olda Porkle, god damn it.
Come on.
Olda Polkert, Peter VDB, Phil Campbell, Phoenix Black, oh shit, Poppy Mama, Prophet of Woe, Reaper Jones, Rich Pogue, Ripley Iwin, Robert Jameson, Robert Lamb, Robert Lutzner, Rolling Boxcars, Ruined Ashes, Sarah Wiley, Sart, Wizard of Isinglass, Shane Stoley, Sean McConnell, Shelley DM, Smegmus Grundlegudge, Snow, Stephen Gregory, The Frilled Shark, The Great Scott, Tomas, and Z-Rator. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all of the support. Much love to you. All right. Let's A some cues. FYI, we will be monitoring live chat for any last minute questions, so ask and we will try to answer on the fly. Give me all your cues, says Matt. So we're going to start right off the bat with one from Kabdar. And this was a question to me. My question is about the ho-hos. They were always going to play a big part of the story. Oh, I'm sorry. Were they always going to play a big part of the story? Or did you decide at that moment everyone kept vamping on Harcourt not behaving normally by not eating ho-hos? Ferrous sulfate is in a lot of stuff. So was iron always supposed to be the steak? Or did you look at the ingredients of the ho-ho and then decide? Kabdar. Nice. Good question. The answer is, as always, they were not going to be a big part of the story at the beginning. We sort of shoehorned them in because of what these guys did and how they sort of leaned into the ho-ho aspect, teasing Harcourt and so forth. And
ho-hos for sanity.
Yeah, I just really leaned into it, and it felt very natural to go ahead and do that. And it wasn't until much later that I began researching what was actually in ho-hos. And I was like, okay, what's in here that's unusual? What could we possibly leverage? And iron is actually quite high, ferrous sulfate, in ho-hos naturally. And I was like, okay, actually iron, okay.
Jeremy, there's no part of a ho-ho that's natural.
Right. Yeah, it's all unnatural.
It naturally occurs in ho-hos.
But like, you know, I already knew that iron was a medieval
Hose
thing.
fresh from the tree.
Fresh from the pluck it. We are in the fruit belt here. No.
Sure.
Where ho-hos grow naturally in their natural environment. But no, I already knew that iron was a component that was used to mythologically defeat demons in, you know, in the medieval sort of literature and that sort of thing. So I was like, well, shit, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. And it actually worked out pretty nicely. And it became a much bigger aspect of the story than I expected. And I'm not unhappy about that. So
yeah, it was great.
That was it.
It was funny. And it tied into the previous session.
Yeah,
because he had ho-hos hidden everywhere.
Yeah, it just sort of came about.
Established his character.
And as everybody knows by this point, the storyline evolves over time. So I sort of adapt based on what these guys need or what might be funny or interesting or whatever. So yeah, I see. Looks like Atulia might have one.
Yep, we got our first cue from the A.
All right.
Audience?
From the A.
Hey.
What is that question?
B. When the NPC was hanging up the movie posters, it was driving me nuts that Diego didn't talk to the guy. It felt like he was sort of meant to do so. Was that the original idea, and did you have to switch gears when he didn't talk to the guy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I tried to give every indication to love it. But as, 17 episodes or cases of the Lovecraft tapes, we know by now that the players just don't pick up on this shit. So, you try to...
Here's me. Here's the
them
clue.
on a silver platter. Here you go. Here's this clue. And no, they still don't get it.
No.
So, yeah.
I'm going to go over here and look at this elevator.
Yeah. Well, that thing was implanted, like, early on when I had, like, a couple... like. Obviously, they encountered some billboards and so forth. And I kind of really had to just And I will say, if you haven't watched the live streams, but you've only listened to the edited versions, you can tell when I'm like, so anyways, there's this thing you may want, like in the live
So
versions.
what did Julia just said? I was like, yeah, I was also convinced that Matt was just fucking with you. I'm not kidding.
Me too. At a certain point, I'm like, God damn it, is it just me? Am I not doing this properly? Am I not doing my job?
Let's go with that. Yes, that was definitely... I
was 100% convinced that Matt was just doing that on purpose.
I'm like, well, if I hadn't already done 6 years of this shit with him, I would know.
I love you,
He's
Matt.
just not picking it up.
I love you, Jeremy.
We get a plan in our head of what we want to do, and that's kind of where we just focus on that.
Yes, that's true.
Like his was to get a poster and tear it down
Yeah.
and roll it up all wet and glue.
Totally true. Totally true. All right. Hope that answers your question, Atulia. We're going to go ahead and move on. I have a question.
Actually, we have another one.
Oh, so go ahead.
Oh.
Copdar wants to know if if Diego ever named his mini bike.
Ooh.
Yes, her name was Francesca.
Francesca. Nice.
What were all the buses named?
All of them.
Oh man, this guy
Bill,
take a while.
Ed, Rufus.
I'm sorry, I know those are probably really private names.
Private name. No, those are his names for his privates.
Yeah. Come on,
All right.
Rufus.
Oh, yes.
All right, I have a question for Brian.
Oh.
Ben's sanity during this scenario seemingly teetered on the edge. How close was he to being seduced by Lilith Devereaux? And if that had happened, what do you think your investigator's future might have been as a member of her family?
So my whole plan, which I had figured out in my head, once I knew that she had that magic, like the reach, my whole plan was to learn what I could, gleam everything I could, and backstab her with her own magic. But once I found out it's a damn rock and I'm talking to some butt plug that can't even produce shows anymore, it's like, well, there goes that plan.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, in my head, it was never a plan to do that, to become part of her family. I was going along with it. But if it would have happened, if like she just overpowered me and it had happened, I would have played into it for sure.
That's what I was more interested in, because, you know, despite your plans, your sanity was getting a little stretched.
Yeah.
And that means that you would not have had total control over your actions.
Right.
So,
and she would have manipulated that for sure.
Yeah.
If it had
if you had become a member of her family, like literally gone so insane that you were under her sway and then became a member of her family, what do you think Ben would become?
The crazy uncle next door that only shows up at the weirdest times.
With an open bathrobe and nothing else.
Exactly.
Get on
that's
my
crazy
lawn.
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, I'd probably been her right-hand man.
Ooh, so you would have been angling for that. Her lover, maybe?
Maybe, depending. I don't know if it was into that. You know what I mean?
She seemed to be pretty into you.
Well,
not maybe in that. It wasn't
I picked it up as trying to manipulate me into going along with her, is what I gathered from all of that.
Yeah.
It
wasn't it almost seemed like she wanted you to be a resource.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was like, Ben is super talented. He has all these innate powers, blah, blah, blah.
Fantastic actor.
No. She was a cougar, says a couple.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sabertooth, maybe.
Yeah. Right. All right. Thanks, Mama Cryptid. Just subscribed for the first time ever. Brian, you got a question for somebody?
Yeah.
For the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Me?
Can you let Lupine know I have a question for him?
Yeah. Hey, Lupine, Brian has a question for you.
Me?
Okay, Matthew, if you could go back and replay a decision that you made, would you, in this scenario? And if so, what would you change?
Ooh.
Easy answer if you just say no. No. Next.
Oh. I mean, there's always those couple of points.
To the poster guy?
Yeah, I'd go back and I'd talk to the poster guy, because apparently that was supposed to happen. I don't know.
Just over here putting up posters. Nothing doing.
I avoid
Diego,
social
I saw you in
interactions in
school
these
the other
games
day.
like I avoid social interactions in real life at all costs. I mean, clearly, probably would have helped to talk to the poster guy. There are a couple of points where there are a couple of roles where I let go, where I failed. Where now that I look back on it, I really wish I would have kept going and maybe tried
Pushing it or
to push, especially when it came to when we were back in Odeon and I was doing that track roll, trying to follow those footprints in the dust. I feel like that would have been a really helpful thing to kind of keep going with instead of just letting go. But when you're in that moment, it's always really hard to make that decision, especially when you lose characters like I do.
Like, there's another one. Diego 2,
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
And can I answer? I would put more points in lockpick.
Yes.
But in who's lockpick?
Yeah. Huh?
Gucci Mama.
Yours.
The keepers.
All right, Matt, you got a question for someone?
I do. It's for you, Jeremy.
All right.
In lieu of me not talking to the poster guy, were there any other little bits or setups that you might have been prepared for that we otherwise missed or ruined in some way that you would really love people to know about?
I don't think so. Not really. Like, I definitely think the poster guy like sort of took the cake. Actually, I actually thought you guys might go back to the widow.
The Widow in this?
Black Widow? Yeah, we had Scarlett Johansson.
I know who you mean. I know
Oh
who
my
you
God.
mean.
So the guy who died, whose estate was, that's where you found the film.
A widow was
The
married to a guy who dies.
Yes.
This is news to me. Okay.
So I think it was Ben and Diego went and visited her at her. She had a nice little corner, a beautiful flower strewn studio thing, and she was like, "No, I don't have. I'm a producer. I don't have the films here." I thought maybe you guys would come back to her at some point and interact with her. Brian is like, he has no clue who the fuck I'm talking about.
Oh. Was she the one that gave the that told us about the storage unit, or
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was
She was the initial storage unit because she was like, "Oh, so and so had, my husband had storage unit."
Why don't I remember that?
Or
at
actually,
all?
she might have like just pointed you towards the people who he worked with. So the cinematographer and the director. But I
that
thought
might have been it. Yeah.
I thought maybe you guys would like circle back to her at some point.
But we got the info we needed.
And I think, Diego was the one who was on the run mostly. Like
Right.
Ben was caught up in everything, and obviously Lupine got snagged because Diego didn't do anything.
I got cockswaddled.
Yeah, you damn near got
Oh.
cockswaddled.
It's true.
And so Diego was sort of like the one guy who was on the run and in the loose cannon. And I was like, well, maybe he's going to like go back and talk to her. So I should probably prep that. And I thought, I thought about doing it, and he just never did. So I thought that would have been an interesting twist if you had like engaged her services or tried to get her, because I think she would have been a good resource, right? She was like very no nonsense, very like staid and everything, and knew a bit about what was going on. And you probably could have got more out of her, and she would have been a great ally. But it like came in your head, and that was that. And like she never was a
Most
topic
things
ever
just
again.
in one ear.
I'm trying to think of when we would
Early
like
on.
been able to go back though. When we would have been able to
I
go
was thinking
back.
Diego specifically.
Right. I'm just trying to think too, because
He had lots of time to fuck
Did he?
around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can
He was
I
doing
can I ask
donuts
a
on your little
follow-up?
bike?
Yeah.
Would she have? Do you think she would have recognized Maud Mitchum?
Yeah, I think she would have
Like from those
absolutely
movie posters? Yeah.
100%. She would be a great resource for that sort of thing because her husband was, and she was much more business-like about everything. And so she, 100%. Like she would have like, oh, that's not Lilith Devereaux. That's, Maud Mitchum. And she probably could have given you a lot more history and so on.
This is Jeremy saying, "You morons!"
No, but it wasn't crucial. It was like she was an asset. Whether or not you guys got around to it, that's you guys kind of fell into other things that I did not see coming, and that's fine. It's fine. But that was one thing where I was like, oh,
we fell into a giant pit of ho-hos.
Yeah.
Remember that time we fell in there?
It happens.
Tasted great though.
All right.
What would have happened if I hadn't have cockswaddled you in the projection room at the theater?
Dude. Well, he was going to go full Indiana Jones.
Oh boy, he was going to swing down and
he
knock
was
her
going to
out?
swing down.
Oh,
I had a whole. Well, I sent you guys. I sent you the guys the thing. What was going to actually happen? So he was actually supposed to swing in like Indiana Jones and clobber a couple people and basically open the way for Lupine to have more opportunity to do some other stuff. So might have saved her from the whole, mouth over mouth situation, which
But
Otto was there, and Otto was if you hadn't, Otto was there, so you were good.
And to hit a very nice transition here, Codbar wants to know, hey, Lupine, where's Rosa going to keep Otto in the dorms?
That is a very good question, Codbar.
Or roommate.
Yeah.
First a squirrel.
Now the demon mouth dog.
I don't even okay, so Ben wouldn't recognize Otto because obviously he's got the thing on his face. But it was the dog he lost, right?
Yes. There was also another backstory there. Otto was his father. That was alluded to.
Your mom fucking a dog?
So Lilith.
I think that's illegal in most states.
Into Otto.
Oh, okay.
It's a very faint allusion to that, but that is sort of what happened.
Oh.
So your dad is Otto. Sorry to.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a different level of weirdness going on there, but nobody knows that. So
Papa want
Well, yeah,
walkies?
because Rosa would never know that unless Ben told her.
And I didn't know it at
Ben
all.
doesn't know it. Not really.
I don't even know what the lady would talk to.
No, Murray, what's her nuts?
I think I'd have to keep Otto in the park. Have him be in the park and just go visit him.
Otto in the park, coming to CBS this fall.
Yeah. And Cece and I could go visit him.
Yeah. Heck yes.
In the park. And Rosé all day. What?
What?
All day.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think dogs can have wine.
Lupine, do you have a question for
Yes.
me?
I do.
What is love?
What is the meaning of life?
42.
Okay.
Why are we here?
Matt.
Hi.
Have you rolled up your nerd character?
Yes.
Seriously though. No, I'm sorry. I've been impressed with the breadth of your characters because I listened to everything up to. Well, I mean, okay. I've listened to everything since the beginning, so especially Detox and stuff. I was just thinking about all your characters up to and the attempt to do voices, the attempt
I try.
to do voices. Anyway,
I try.
So I was just wondering how you get ready to play a character. I guess what do you think about when you're both before each session and then also how do you decide who you want to be? You know what I mean? Like, how do you
Mhm.
decide like what kind of character you want to be? I'm just curious.
A lot of times it starts with usually like an archetype or maybe a character from a game I'm playing or somebody that I really enjoyed the movie, and I go, how can I take this character or what this character is about and what they stand for, and how did I then take that and fit that into the world that we've made, but in an interesting way? Because it's not difficult to make this person, is a normal everyday person and they're very, flat one dimension. The tricky part with characters is making them believable to a point while still leaving a little bit of room in there where you can kind of wiggle back and forth on story, especially working with Jeremy, who I know likes to kind of do that kind of stuff, giving you a little bit of room to kind of play with the backstories and maybe try and slip some stuff in and use it within the episode to maybe add a little bit of extra intrigue or strangeness or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of characters have started out as voices. Detox was one of those where I just really wanted to do that as a voice. Declan was also originally one of my characters that was stolen from me.
I did steal it. Yeah.
It's true.
Yes.
I was going to do that. Declan was originally going to be my next character, and he was going to have a much better Scottish accent than the one that Jeremy attempted several times.
What are they doing?
But for me, the biggest part is just making sure that if it's a character that I'm interested in and that I'm having fun with, I'm more than certain that the people that are out there listening are going to pick up on that and have a lot of fun with me. And that's really just the goal, is to be able to bring people in and make sure they're enjoying the story as much as we're having fun, making it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So Diego
Cool.
was based on Glenn Close then?
All right, I have a question for Matt. Do you think there is a path forward for Diego to repair his relationship with his father? And regardless of how that pans out, where does your investigator land once school ends?
I would really like to think that maybe someday when he's older and a little bit wiser, he can look back and realize that the things that happened weren't, specifically somebody's fault. They weren't his fault. It wasn't his dad's fault. It wasn't his mom's fault. That it was just the way that things ended up, and that's just how the dice rolled. And that he could look at that and go, okay, maybe I could go back and, get over that. But it's a really tricky thing to do because a lot of those wounds run really deep, especially during that development phase when you're a teenager, a young adult, and you're forming a lot of your opinions of, the world and the way things work and everything around you. It can be difficult to come back from something like that. So I'd love to be able to go, oh yeah, he's going to be best friends with his dad, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Why?
In terms of where he's going after school, honestly, I was looking at it that he'd probably keep moving through welding.
Oh yeah.
It was something that he picked up in school that he really enjoyed. It allowed him to continue to, tinker and work with his hands while still giving him that degree of creative freedom. So you get that, it's that nice mix of standard welding work where you're, day 9 to 5, just, putting things together. But then at night he can turn around and use that to create art and sculpture and kind of use it as an outlet for creativity. So I think he's probably going to end up in the welding field professionally.
Make some good money.
Yep. And I can see, on the West Coast, maybe in San Francisco, doing some sculpture and that sort of thing. I think our art world might take notice.
Yeah, because he started dabbling in like welding and metal sculpting. It came up a couple of times, didn't get to touch on it a whole lot, but he definitely gotten into that and started kind of dipping his toes into that art world of working with metal.
Yeah. All right, Matt, do you have a question for someone else?
Yeah, Brian.
What?
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So with your experience this case around getting a little deeper into the weeds with magic and the paranormal and the unknown, was it enough for Ben for him to go, okay, that's it, I'm out? Or is it just enough for him to go, okay, let's go deeper. What else can I do?
Harder, deeper.
As deep as I could possibly go. I was willing to dabble with the most evil creature we've come across, Ben's come across, and just to get the knowledge. And my sanity was dipping and I didn't care. No, yeah, I want to know, ever since I read that book, I wanted to know everything that is real magic, not illusions, real magic.
Not Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion, right?
No, nope. And no tricks either.
Trixie. All right, Brian, you got a question?
Mm-hmm. Lupine. You ready?
Yes.
Let me see if I can read my chicken scratches. When you were thrown in the trunk, did you think that was pretty much it? Did you think you were going to be into the river? Because they didn't even listen to you. You were trying to talk your way out of it, and there was nothing.
Yeah. I didn't think that Jeremy would just cut me off so summarily, but I wasn't sure, man.
It can happen,
right?
Ask me how I know.
Usually he gives you a little bit of an out when you're going into a terrible situation. There was nothing. I was worried. I was like, uh-oh, this might be it. This might be it. Unless he had an NPC to rescue you, you know?
Yeah, I kind of thought, I was surprised I wasn't dead going in, honestly, to the trunk. I was surprised I hadn't been just shot or
Well, that part really shocked me. I was like, wow, he's really putting her in the trunk. Holy crap.
Yeah. But as we see, Jeremy had a plan, an evil plan.
It
was much worse than a trunk.
Yes, it was much worse than getting thrown in a trunk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll interject a little bit here. Yeah. You know, it for whatever reason, I was like, and this will lead into a question I have for Lupine a little bit later, but the fact that Rosa and Cece had this relationship that was blossoming and, you know, and so nice and natural and everything. And I really wanted to like fuck that up a little bit, you know, like, and so I was like, well, the best way to do this is to interject Lilith in here and have her be this opposing sort of evil force that is also very seductive and can promise lots of things, or you know, and also be charming, hopefully. And so that was my deal, was like the dynamic of the storyline hinged upon Rosa and Cece to a certain extent.
And then the fact that I'd just been thrown in a trunk and I'd thought that it was over, sort of informed how I acted in the next encounter. In that encounter with Lilith, I was feeling like, you know, everything could have been done and I'm still alive, so I'm gonna shoot for the moon or whatever, and just like try to tell her off.
That's great.
Because I was like, I'm fucking pissed.
We couldn't.
Someone just threw me in a trunk.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. Lupine, do you have a question for someone?
I do. How about this? Right back at you, Brian.
I'm Jeremy today.
Okay. So, Brian, moving right on. So Brian, who looks like Jeremy. No, Brian, who looks like Brian.
Oh.
So did you work with actual like small humans, like children, right?
Yeah, they're not small,
So
but yeah. Normal size humans.
Yeah, but they're still tiny.
Yeah.
So did working with tiny humans, the less tiny of the tiny humans, but still tiny, did working with them sort of inform like how you like thought of whether you were gonna, because I 100% expected Ben to sell us out. And I don't know, maybe that's because high school sucked for me. But I was just wondering if like watching the interactions of high schoolers like informed how you played basically a high schooler.
Oh yeah. This goes for really any human, little, medium, or big. We're all acting at some point in our lives. That's the front we put out so we can protect ourselves. And these kids, they all do it more than any other age group because they're so terrified of not being accepted. So they're always putting up a front and being someone that they're not truly. You know what I mean? So to be able to play that, I definitely picked from that when I was in the car with her and playing along with her. I was putting up a front that I was interested in. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it. I want to be part of this movement. But then the real me would never betray my friends. The real Ben.
Liar.
Never. Unless there were extra ho-hos.
Yeah.
I mean, that all deals
it's
are
a
off.
motivator.
It's a given. Any of us would do that.
I would totally understand your betrayal.
I gathered from that, obviously. Just because you see it every day, it's like part of my life. You know what I mean? You see the interaction between each other, and then they come in, and their interaction with me is totally different. When it's, you know what I mean? If it's like a one-on-one situation. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the development and how it happens year to year.
And I guess, like, do you think, obviously we can't actually go back and like play the scenario with different characters, but I just wonder, like, do you think if you'd been playing an adult, you would have played it differently?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah, because I would not have done any of that. I would have probably fought back.
Yeah.
If we were all adults and trying to figure this out, you know what I mean? I would have probably tried to fight back and then probably died. But yeah, for sure. For sure. Just because I know me personally, I do stuff differently than if I was a teenager, like how they interact with each other. I'm much more honest and open now than I was when I was in high school.
Nice.
Brownie wants to know if ding dongs are an acceptable substitute for ho-hos.
You know, I don't know. Let's see here.
Can't believe you're even here.
I'm doing yeah. Ding dongs are, you know, it's not a Swiss roll, so it's not. I mean,
don't let Big Ding Dong take over the podcast.
It's not a Swiss roll.
We're being held down by Big Ding Dong.
I would say no.
Are you calling us ding dongs, Branny?
Maybe we didn't demonstrate enough that it was that unique, but ding dongs, no. I actually prefer ding dongs to.
They're like ho-hos. A cupcake, right?
Yeah, but they have the cream in the middle, like a big chunk of cream in the middle.
Okay,
it's like a circular thing. So, but the ho-hos are more.
Don't threaten me with a good
it's
time.
Like a log, it's rolled up.
Yeah.
So it's much
like
more.
A cake that's rolled rather than.
It's a Swiss roll. So it has a much different. Oh, and snowball as well. You know why they call them snowballs, don't you, Brownie?
No.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
This isn't Clerks.
You know why they call them finger cuffs? No,
I can't stand snowballs. It's not the taste; it's the texture.
Chasing Amy.
I have a question for Lupa.
Okay.
Before we began playing K-17, you requested specifically a romantic interest for your investigator. Now, assuming that Rosa and Cece come out of this experience unscathed, both mentally and physically, how do you envision their future together?
Ooh. Alcoholics, it sounds like. Rosé.
Functional alcoholism.
Sorry, the answer for you.
We live in a dig dog crack house. Well, I actually feel like that shared experience might make them closer. Because like neither of them can talk about it to anyone else except these guys. And yeah, I mean, I see you were talking about Diego moved to San Francisco. I was like, that may be where Rosa and Cece end up. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Rosa sort of, I know Rosa's gonna have I don't know about Cece, but I know that like as Rosa comes to adulthood, she's gonna have a lot of trouble with, just because she doesn't trust adults, and all of a sudden she's going to be an adult. So I wonder if that might end up being a problem in their relationship, but
hopefully
yeah,
not.
just because she might have issues with stuff. I don't know. But I'm sure something's going to kill her far before then. So
it's probably
don't worry about that.
Yeah. Francesca runs over.
God damn it, Francesca.
Rosa.
Look out.
If you can't get out of the way, then don't be on the road. That's all I'm saying.
I sort of, because of this, like, so I hate to go back to movies, but like, who's kidding? I don't hate to go back to movies. But what was the movie that the friends all had? Oh, It.
It, yes.
The friends had all like moved away because because of their experience in Pennywise, and then they all came back together to deal with it. So it could go either way. I feel like this group of people, and including Cece now, and maybe Lindsay if she wants to say, and just anybody who's had these sort of experiences with us, we're going to be the only good people who we can talk to about it. That's kind of why. So I kind of picture us as having like a sort of, I don't know, it's the 70s, right? So like commune,
yeah,
or something. Just kind of, yeah, living
loca,
either near each other or together as roommates or something, and just like, everybody's like, oh, that's the Cold House where they talk about, slime monsters and mushroom people. And yeah, but
that's the Cold Check house.
Or it could turn into, or it could go the other way. It could go the way of like the It people going like to various places and then
somewhere else.
Yeah. So I'd be curious to see how that would actually turn out.
Yeah.
I mean, for now, Rosa definitely feels, I feel like Rosa would be very protective of Cece.
Yeah, maybe too protective and push her away. Oh,
hey, possibly. Now let's hope for the best, guys. Let's hope for the best. All right, Lupine, do you have a question for someone?
I do.
Your final question,
Jeremy.
Yes.
Okay, so the bad guy.
Yeah, Lilith.
Yeah.
Skeletor.
Was she connected to the meteoroid thingy? Because the other two were.
Oh yeah.
The last two were. I was wondering if there was any connection between Lilith and the meteoroid thingy. I don't know if you can tell me such things or not, but because and my biggest reason was because when you hit me with that tentacle,
yeah,
when I was coming out of the house, yeah, right. When I was coming out of the house, and the tentacle was coming out of my finger. Like when that happened, I sort of Lupine sort of had flashbacks to Camp Mulholland.
Yes.
And so it's like they felt similar. And then when I ate the ho-ho, I actually wondered if the tentacle and the tentacle that came out of my finger and this evil, this force or whatever, were different. Like if that was like an influence from Camp Mulholland that was actually separate. You know how two bad things can happen at the same time? Correlation does not equal causation, people.
True.
No, you're absolutely correct. It was never intended to be connected. It was intended to be absolutely separate. If there was any of that going on that Rosa thought it might be connected, it was purposeful to try to make you think you were going crazy. Nothing more. Nothing more. That's the long and short of it. I was very keen on the idea of making all of those storylines as far as away as possible. Like obviously the Mushroom People and the second one, those were connected, but this was meant to be a divergence. So, but I did lean into trying to let you, the player, and also Rosa, the character.
You felt my paranoia, and you were like,
"Yeah, absolutely." You got to feed into that because it fueled your actions, whether it was logical or not, and that made it fun. In some aspects, for sure.
It was like, I liked fucking with you guys.
Well, I didn't
say that. I
like fucking you guys.
Sometimes the players are their own worst enemies, so you just
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let them go.
As you zoom in on my brain and see little hamster wheels returning to me.
Absolutely, and it's also it's fuel for the plot. So I'm like, I can add this in and more sanity rolls and so forth. So yeah.
Woo. That ties in with my next question for Jeremy, if I can go next.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Jump, Matt. Go for it.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Boink. Jeremy.
Yeah.
What was your best got them moment in this scenario?
Oh,
that you were just talking about feeding those little...
Yeah.
When you got them those ho-hos.
There are actually a lot of different ones, but honestly, it was you being the great and powerful Cthulhu, because I planned that so carefully.
It was so good,
and it was meant,
and I was surprised.
It was completely comedy. I really just wanted to diffuse the tension, and have some fun at the very end there, because it was already a dire circumstance no matter what. And I thought
that was the best reveal. Great. I have to say, I loved it. Thank you.
It was fun.
What's a twist?
With the twist. Yeah, that was my favorite gotcha moment for sure. There were a couple other ones with that sort of I didn't even know, I don't know, even early on with the whole CC and Rosa thing, like the all day rosé thing. I sort of had planned, but it wasn't until the second thing I was like, okay, we can do this and that'll be fun. And it worked out. I was super nervous because I've never really plot this is a horror Cthulhu podcast,
right.
And when I did that, I was like, I need to really lean into the romance and everything, which I'm totally down for. But it's it was sort of off brand in a way, but it was so much fun to hopefully nail it, and everybody was on board and it was just fun. So.
So you're putting the love back in Lovecraft?
Yes. And not after dark, at sunset.
Oh.
At sunset. All right, Matt, you have the last question of the night.
Oh boy, Lupine.
Yeah.
When we were introduced to Rosa back before the camp incident, she seemed like she was very much content with living with her family on the farm and working on the farm and working with the animals. Do you ever see Rosa in the future going back to that kind of simple farm life, either with or without Cece, or do you think at this point she's grown out of that and maybe looking towards grander things?
I do see her trying to get back there. I don't know if she's ever going to be able to do it because she's got so much baggage with what happened there. Because it was that really the childhood naivety, right? And then we had the whole thing happen with the people in the town and stuff. And so it's sort of like she'll always, I feel like she's always going to be trying to go back. If it was cool to see a therapist, she'd probably say we're a therapist. Like, this is what happened. And they'd be like, you're always trying to go back to that.
Right.
But I mean, cool to see a therapist then, because it's cool to see a therapist. So see a therapist. Yes, see a therapist. But you know what I mean? Like a very therapist-y answer would be she's going to always try to get back there, but it'll never be the same because she'll always have the mushroom people in the back of her head. But I can definitely see trying to get back there to, like, starting her own farm, maybe with Cece. Maybe that's where we all live in our commune.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
With the goats.
Yeah.
Just no goats.
Yeah.
Diego can keep all your mechanical stuff working.
Yeah, I think we might not have goats. Because they might
Alpacas.
deflate.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Llamas.
Well, there you go.
Llamas.
Mhm.
Everything that spits.
Yes.
Alpacas.
All right,
Spag
guys.
toads.
Yeah. All right, guys. Now we've come to the unpleasant portion of the Tonight Show.
I have to take my shirt off again.
Take your shirt off.
I'll get the rubber gloves ready.
It gives me no pleasure to announce that the Lovecraft Tapes podcast will soon be going on indefinite hiatus. I know this comes as a shock to many of you, and for that I am sorry. Tonight at 8:45 Eastern, a formal announcement with more details was published on Patreon. I will spend the next few days disseminating the information more widely, but if you have any specific questions about or after reading the announcement, I will try my best to answer them. As always, we thank all our listeners and Patreon supporters who have supported us for the last 6 years. And I also thank my talented castmates for helping tell these scary stories together. Appreciate that. And that's it.
Wait. We appreciate our keeper.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For being an amazing
best.
storyteller and guiding
Putting
us
up
through
with
some
all
of
of us and all
most
of our
amazing experiences that we've
And
had
being
in
the
last 6
invisible
years.
to cool me in the background.
Yes.
dealing with all of our shenanigans, whether they be about posters or elevators.
Mostly elevators. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly elevators. Should have just called in the elevator craft tapes.
I kind of totally wish I'd had that.
If we had called it the elevator craft tapes, then we probably get a lot less social media posts saying, "Hey, did you know that Lovecraft was a racist?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Thanks.
He was?
Elevator craft, not so much.
Thank you, Atulia. Appreciate that. Thank you, Crocy. Trust me,
Okay.
I'm in the same boat. All right. Well, that's it for this Well, that's it for the Lovecraft tapes. Not this edition. That's it for this for the Lovecraft tapes. Feel free to chat with me anytime at discord.lovecrafttapes.com.
And if anybody wants to pitch character ideas, because I will never stop taking those, I need as many of them as I can get. Hit me up on either Mastodon or Blue Sky at The Real Weird Kid.
And I hope that they soon come through with the technology to send wine through Discord. And we can all rosé all day. You can find me at Lupine Vendetta on Discord, on the server, anywhere. I also stream on Monday evenings at 7 Eastern. And yeah, I avoid social media like the plague.
I love it. If you guys want to
feel like
find
that's a
and
lie.
talk to me, I will be on Discord because it's almost summer. But check out my Kickstarter where I'm inventing a webcam that shoots wine right into your mouth as you're broadcasting.
Oh shit! I'm hang on. I'm pledging right now.
I want 60.
Love you guys.
Until next time, roll for taco fish. Cricket. All right.
Click.
Thanks, guys.
Cricket.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Love you. Click.
We'll be around, obviously, if you read the announcement.
Yep.
We'll be around. So feel free to reach out. And we love you and we appreciate you. No, I hate that term. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
It's a stupid phrase, and I hate it so much. But we do love you. And
but we do not appreciate you.
No, I hate
you.
That.
All are the
Appreciate
worst.
You. It's so I hate that fucking thing. Anyways, we're gonna say good night now, and we will see you on Discord, guys. So peace.
Yeah.
Bye.